Hello, brother.
What's up? Nice to see you in person.
Nice to see you in person. How nice is this?
It is.
It's a totally biased first
A first
for us to do like
retrospective
only in person because we've done the one with people not around.
Exactly.
All right, listeners, hello. Welcome back to Totally Biased Music. Today we're doing a totally biased retrospective on Tipper and Friends Suwannee 2016, an incredibly near and dear event to our hearts and something that we really wanted to be able to give like enough space to like discuss, right? And like really dial in. We want to talk about Suwanee in general as well.
Yeah.
As a lot of people know, this upcoming next weekend, today's the 12th.
Yes.
So today's also a full moon. 2016 was the full moon gathering, so we figured today would be a good.
It's a lot of synchronicity.
Yes, an energetically favorable night to record something like this. So so as a lot of people know, next weekend it is Tipper's last dance at Suwanee, which is sad in a lot of ways, but also all things come and all things go.
Exactly. You know, I mean, it's been a great run. I mean, so that's what, 2016. I mean, at least through 4 times at least.
16, 17, 18, 19, skipped 2020 and 2021, right?
But it did go back.
Then 2022 and then 2023.
Potentially. And then,
right? I don't know
either.
There's a lot of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there are going to be some stats we might try to give, but please forgive us because this is all based off of memories. We're not going deep into the weeds as far as semantics.
And our memories, because of some of the same things we've all been doing for a while, might be a little altered.
Right.
Might be a good.
There's an asterisk by a lot of our.
Yeah, exactly. So
recollection.
So take what we say as entirely truthful. Basically, it's fully fact.
Exactly. But yeah, what a fucking trip this has been for us because we got to listen back to some sets, we got to look at some videos, so we're excited to kind of bring you some of our firsthand experience and bring you just some of our humblest memories with Tipper and with Suwanee in general.
And let me tell you, this man right here, Anthony Rodriguez, is the best Wook documentarian maybe on the face of this planet. You have so many different sets just from his personal recorder, some that a lot of people probably have seen the light of day. Anthony is going to upload those to a viewable drive, right?
Yeah. So after this episode, we'll put the link in the show notes to a folder that will have all the sets that we've recorded, plus some bonus stuff, some chats that were happening during this event, and so we have a couple different versions too. We'll say we have a Spunion version where there's a lot of banter,
pretty personal version if we're being honest.
You probably hear a couple familiar voices, and then we have another set of recordings from my buddy Connor that are pretty high quality that we're going to splice in throughout this episode as well, especially regarding Tipper sets. But we also have Spangle, we have some Jade Cicada, we've got some Crunch, we've got lots of good stuff. So it will be there for you after the fact. And if the downloads reach max availability, share the sets with your friends. I mean, like, this is what it's all about. You know, these sets are not pristine soundboard recordings, but they are field recordings that I think will capture the magic that we got to experience.
They sound great on headphones, and they sound great in your car.
Yeah, that's a great
maybe don't listen to it off your laptop speakers, but some other avenues work. Well, I feel like we've kind of laid it out pretty well, so let's hop in.
Let's go to Suwanee.
Let's go to Suwanee, man.
Right.
We are both skipping this series a bit. We're like, hey, let's just talk about it instead. That'll fucking work. Yeah. All right. So, man, Tipper and Friends has come so far as like not just all across the country, but as being like the premier event for setting trends or setting up new artists, like getting them in new people's ears, audio and visual. Yeah, that's a good call out. And it's kind of hard to imagine now a world where these events didn't happen, but walking into 2016,
there was before Suwanee 2016, there was Talia Hall, Chicago, and the Fillmore, I think, in Detroit. But realistically, other than that, there wasn't a lot of multi-day events, definitely no camping events, right? This was a huge deal for everyone because we didn't know realistically what to expect from Tipper's team and from the production in general. But also, this was my first time in Suwanee.
There's a lot of people's first time in Suwanee. Yeah. I've been lucky enough to go for like Hula in 2015. But it's night and day different for people that have been to Hula and been to like a Tipper and Friends or a Wani. you know, any of those smaller fests like Suwannee. Halloween's amazing.
Right.
But there's
The
just
park is the common
yeah,
denominator,
the
which
park is a
is its
common
own
denominator. It's a
entity.
magic place. I mean, there's something special in that
Yeah.
Spanish moss and that very, very sometimes annoying sand that gets into pretty much everything you own.
There's sand, there's
Or
the
mud,
river.
depending on the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've experienced lots of different weather.
But as far as like launching artists into the pantheon of like alternative bass music, whatever you want to call this little scene that we're in.
Right.
I feel like Suwannee kind of started that, where it was like you would see someone on a lineup and you'd be like, hey, like I know that name because they played Suwannee one time. Like they're one of the friends, so to
Yeah,
speak.
exactly.
Um,
Well, and Tipper's team has also been really great with like every year including somebody who submitted their music to them to put them on the lineup.
right.
You know, I don't know if did they ever have a term for that? It was just fan submission mix.
No, it was yeah. There's a term for it.
Yeah,
and,
but anyway,
it
they've always been great about trying to not platform, I guess, but like elevate people into where there's more awareness of what they're creating.
Yeah, and promote things for the sake of the sound too. This obviously is like a very independently run type of corner of the music world, and
Right.
it's great to see that throughout the entirety of its existence, never really falling. I feel like to like record label presses or things like that. Whereas you have your larger festivals that everybody's got to make a little money somehow.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier to kind of like put somebody on because like their record label's doing X, Y, and Z. Like these people are pretty much just like people that they know, people they think they're making dope music, bringing in people from Japan, people obviously from the UK, bringing in new sounds. Like drum and bass obviously has been a big deal, in the last few years. Like, and that didn't start at Suwanee, but
Right.
they brought in, LTJ Buckham was like my first introduction to like true like drum and bass, like drum and bass. Not that I'm the biggest fan, but I did love those sets.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of being like that tastemaker focal point has been something I think that they'll be able to hang on their resume when they look back and when it's over.
Yeah, and I think that too, it's like you trust in the team putting out the best product, whether it is audio or it's visual artists or an art gallery or some workshop. I mean, these events are multifaceted and it really is beyond the music, but the music is, of course, I know.
Yeah, it's the central of everything. The visual artists too. This 2016 was my first time ever seeing Android Jones, I think, right?
No,
because he was in Imagine. Yep.
Bisco too, but double.
No, Jonathan Singer Bisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Android and Jonathan Singer were also both featured in this Suwanee.
W.
But W was the big
like the what shit, yeah. And there's points when we in the Wook recordings where you go back and listen, and Anthony and I feel like I've gotten away from really focusing on the visuals as much as I used to, because I think like when I first saw it, it just like busted my mind wide open.
Right.
And like there's points in those sets where you and I just go like, wait, so who is this? Like, you think this is W? Do you think this is so and so? Like, yeah, it's definitely him because he was doing this at this point, yada yada yada.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. And I'm proud of our ability to pay attention, honestly, especially under the conditions. Yeah.
Exactly.
Couple headfuls.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the chocolate days.
Yeah.
I miss those things.
I mean, that was a different time and different headspace, but still beautiful,
fun.
Beautiful time.
Yeah.
That's why we have recordings.
Yep, right? Exactly. Well, let's talk about leading up into getting there. So I remember you called me, and I was working at a car wash at the time, and I was actually detailing someone's car, and you called me and you said, hey, Tipper and Friends tickets for Suwanee are about to go on sale. It's like some super special fan pre-sale or whatever.
Right.
Well, it really wasn't that special. They just said like, hey, we're going to do a pre-sale. Get your tickets. Right. And those tickets, Anthony, would you like to tell the crowd how much those tickets cost for those 2 days?
So,
and this is going to come up several times
in 2016. Yeah, these tickets for 2-day Tipper Festival that also featured a sunrise set on the following day.
So 3 days,
3-day festival in Suwanee, $50.
50 United States dollars. That's how much a ticket to this event costs. I can't even go out to dinner for $50 like by myself.
I don't even know the last time I spent $50 on any show.
Yeah.
Like just any show.
Like I'm going to go down to, even local show is going to be $35.50, and I'm going to get some type of either merch or like a beverage of some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So $50.
Yeah.
Basically, you go to a movie with a date.
Yeah.
$50.
I'm trying to think of how much it cost when we just went and saw The Friend the other day, and it's probably $20 all in. I probably spent about $50. So all that to say, this is the best fucking bargain that anyone's ever gotten.
Yeah.
It changed the absolute game, and it was $50. So thanks to Tipper team for keeping those prices real low. I don't
Yeah.
think ticket prices have gotten really out of hand since then for these events. I think they're as cheap as they possibly could be.
Absolutely, you know,
Yeah,
and especially for what they've upgraded every event there, and it's very clear because this event was, I mean, we could call it bare bones, but it's bare bones in comparison to now because there's no mapping on the stage. They're really utilizing the environment when it comes
right.
to lighting, when it comes to workshops and stuff. The art gallery is very minimal,
They bring
but
in bigger
still
speakers.
phenomenal. Yes, of course,
Yeah.
and even do maybe a renegade stage here and there, but like again for what it was. I think in the Wilk recordings, which I like calling it that too.
Thanks.
One of us says, we would easily spend $500 for that experience that
Yeah.
we went through. And that, I mean, realistically,
And we didn't have any money back then.
Yeah.
Now that we have a bunch of money now, but like
Yeah.
we really didn't have any money back then.
right. But like as far as the quality of what we were
Yeah.
experiencing is beyond worth
Yeah.
what we had to pay for it. So again, yeah, thanks to everyone who's been involved with this.
And I promise Tipper team, if any of y'all are listening out there other day or whomever, this isn't just gonna be a fluff job of us just the whole time. But
yeah, no.
but it kind of is actually. So well, the camping was interesting because the thing about Suwanee, as most people know, is it's a choose your own adventure camping situation.
Right.
You can take as much space or as little space as you want to. It's very community oriented, which is something I feel like people don't really think about that often. Is like you really got to be like, hey, this is how much space I need, and work it out with your neighbors or whatever. And everything went off without a hitch that year. We had some friends that rented out one of those little pavilions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was holding on to that for you. So they rented out this pavilion. They had like 16 or 18 people all sleeping on concrete, or not sleeping on concrete.
Right.
Like that hammocks hung from every possible direction. Like everyone kind of had their own thing going on, and that became kind of the party spot. And I remember you and I, when we pulled up, we said, okay,
we're not gonna live
there. We're gonna visit. So we're gonna be adjacent from that area. And we would walk across the street and go have our fun. Then we come back to our tents and, hang out a little bit.
Exactly.
So
sleep is valued.
Sleep is valued.
Even if it's a little bit, but like having a space that you can say, all right, I'm gonna go over here while y'all are hanging out over here is super, super wise, I'd say.
And I think that if anyone who knows me is listening, hearing me say sleep is valued, people are probably gonna chuckle a little bit, especially at Suwanee. But
talking about sleeping on the way home.
Yeah. At some point you gotta go to sleep, or you go to big sleep.
Exactly.
So yeah, the camping was killer. Let's talk about the lineup.
Right.
Do you have it pulled up in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Can you? Oh, you have one of those privacy screens?
Oh,
that's probably good.
I never can tell because
that's good practice. You're right. That makes sense.
So Friday, obviously, so this event also not only surrounding the full moon, but also an Earth Day event. So there was a little celebration with that, or a little gathering at the stage. But so just the lineup going down the list on Friday, we have Sort of Vague, Evac, Crunch, which is Tipper and Mike Wallace, which we'll talk about in a second.
We were not even close to prepared or worthy for Crunch at this point.
$50,
dude. Like the only time it's ever happened, and we were just like, this is really cool, this is really fun. It's like, dude, it was monumental.
I don't think they've played since.
They never have, and they never will, supposedly.
Yeah. I mean, you want to dive into the Crunch set now?
I mean, we can hop right in. Yeah,
let's go.
Let's go ahead and play. It's from 26 minutes in the set, in case you end up like needing that timestamp. But yeah, let's pop that on and let's listen to that for a second. Good call.
So we've got Grama, which is one of my favorite Crunch tracks coming in.
Sidebar. So throughout this episode, we are going to play some pretty high quality versions of these songs directly from Anthony Spring Connor's rips. So feel free to strap in and listen to the full versions of them. This one's going to go for about 2 to 3 minutes.
Yep. Perfect.
so that was Grama. And it's hard not to picture that video that's been on YouTube forever from that side angle. Whenever I hear like pieces of this set, such a high quality video of them two just up there, like just so mellow the entire time.
And too, it's like, again, for people who didn't realize what they were getting into, this is Tipper and Mike Wallace playing together, which is not a thing that happens really ever or since potentially. But how special. I mean, again, to get this in that venue, I mean, for the first major Tipper camping festival.
I want to say it was right when the sun went down, like it was like the first like nighttime set too.
This
right?
was this was when they like, so the first two artists that were playing, it's kind of like dusk, so it's going down, but this is where they turned the visuals on, like maybe 15 minutes into the set. So we got our first taste of the production in itself, and again, the first time hearing crunch through these function ones in Suwanee.
Yeah,
fucking powerful.
Something. And then I think we also pulled out one more timestamp for this one to listen to Fib at 34 minutes and 30 seconds. And then we can do that up. And this is Fib by Crunch. Man, what a song.
So fucking good.
I love my NPR.
Right.
This is Fib by Crunch. Welcome back. That was Fib by Crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, super special. And once again, just like something we didn't appreciate. I mean, we enjoyed it, but like, and that's kind of the whole Tipper ethos.
You're so in the moment that you don't realize how big the moment actually is.
Right.
You're a part of it.
Yeah.
You know? But again, like hearing Dave scratch with Mike on stage, on those speakers, in that environment, in that headspace too. You know, this is like the first night.
Yeah.
Tipper hasn't even played yet.
So we're getting settled in.
Exactly.
We're getting settled in by that tree, like that tree that I kiss every time I go back to Suwanee. I love that fucking tree.
Dude, and
it rained earlier that day. I don't know if you remember that. So like it was like that kind of humidity type vibe.
Sticky
a little bit. Yeah.
That's how it should be. You know? Real quick, I want to mention, you know, obviously we said, you know, Crunch is Tipper and Mike Wallace. But on the topic of Mike Wallace, y'all might know him. He's in KLO, he's an Osmetic, he runs Colony Productions as a record label. And you know, just this year he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And he was very public about it and very open to the fact that he was willing to accept donations to help him with that. So something that we're going to also include in the show notes and below the video is a link to his GoFundMe. Now, he's had surgery. It was successful. He's recovering. God. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we obviously want everyone to be in as good health as possible. But it's, you know, it's very humbling to be able to be open and asking for help like that.
So it's hard to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So
I can't imagine, you know.
And thanks to everyone out there who has been contributing to that too. But the GoFundMe is still open and he is still accepting donations as far as for whatever he needs. You know, I mean, we obviously trust him with that and again, want the best for him. So wanted to mention that too. And he does this shirt that I'm wearing. It is also listed in his GoFundMe. So he's very open with like getting people something for their donations. So by all means, support him. Shout out Mike Wallace and thank you for everything. And also thank you for this fire ass crunch.
Yes, thanks for the fire crunch stuff, but also just the general contributions.
Exactly.
Let's make sure and put that link at the top, like the first link, so that way it's easily accessible.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Not to get too heavy, smack dab in the middle.
So
but
Tipper takes a break for an hour.
Yeah, Tipper goes back and has the glass of wine or whatever he
plays a set. And then we get into the real madness, which is Tipper's uptempo.
Tipper uptempo, which at this point, my experience with Tipper had been two sets, both uptempo.
Yes.
One was Camp Bisco, was my first one. I went in completely blind on the drive home, which I drove one of the rare times I drove you.
You drove a lot.
I drove pretty much the whole way, and you slept, and that's fine because sleep is important. But I dove into one of your iPods. I dove into the full. I was like obsessed. I was like, this is awesome. Like this is something entirely new to me. Just the general like, I don't know, the energy of it was something that I hadn't experienced, and you know, had been going to some things for a while at that point, but just nothing like it.
It's another ball.
And so from the time then into this set, like I had felt like I was a lot more educated, and then this set kind of humbled me in my thought of being educated. And just like the general like the energy in this place, like that amphitheater is super special. It also just has this like concentrated feel where like you're like all on top of each other, but not like in a negative way. Like it's very like
it's like a nucleus.
Yeah, well, it's an amphitheater.
Yeah,
word for that. That's the whole purpose of it. But it's really special. Like it just is, and we know that. But man, I think the first song that we have queued up that we want to listen to is Higgins. The opener. Yeah,
right. Which this opener also opened that Imagine set. He opened the Imagine set with this, but like
which he was a flu game, by the way. He was really sick, remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was another Simon Posford and Tipper little comment.
Tipper's not feeling well right now. He's going to come on stage about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to play for you. Just some shit like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll recap that way too. But yeah, so Higgins opener is what we're going to start out with.
Okay, cool.
Headphones
on. We're going to give this a couple minutes.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Rock and roll.
such good sound quality.
So good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Connor for the 1,000th time. We might do 1,000 more.
Yeah, me and Connor, we recorded a lot of the same sets together, and it was so much fun because whether if it was at a festival like this, we're both there, but if we're at a different festival, we're trying to catch other sets too, and then sharing them together. So, yeah,
Nice.
shout out all the tapers out there.
Yeah. There's not many of y'all left, I don't think.
Well, I mean,
you're a dying breed.
I guess taping has converted to recording video now.
Yeah.
You know, and with I think with video recorders now, they're capturing really good audio. Yeah. So why not do both?
You can do it on your iPhone now. You get just as good.
Yeah. But back in the day, or that's weird.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
That's something we haven't talked
about.
Yeah, that's something I haven't talked about. It's been a decade since this event happened almost.
That's
crazy. Minus 1 year. We can round up. But yeah, dude, how crazy is that?
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why the video that you'll find, you may find some really good quality stuff. Tipper's team has recorded some stuff, and we'll obviously put that in here too. But otherwise, you're just gonna get audio. I mean, pick and choose. I'll choose audio.
Yeah,
close your eyes anyway.
I'll choose audio. But back then, I think we really talked a lot about visual artists. I want to talk about, I'm pulled from the Wook recording audio.
Okay.
At about 6 minutes and 45 seconds in. This is where we start talking about the price of this event. And kind of the realization that my friend, and shout out Kelsey Farr, really quick sidebar. This is when I don't know if you know this. This is me and Kelsey like actually became friends.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd met her one time at another event, and like just in passing, and then I saw her at Tip and Friends when we were walking to the stage. And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" She was like, "I know you," and I was like, "I know you." And she's like, "I'm gonna come with you." And we're like, "Cool." Wild. And then she hung out with us all night long. And that's like, wild. Yeah. And so then obviously,
well, I'm trying to think of when, because I went to college with her, you know, and like we again reunited during these shows and during different artist sets. So I mean, that's the beauty of these events, is that you will see people there who you know are going to be there, who you may not see anywhere else but there, right? So it becomes this giant reunion, and for them to have done these events year after year after year, it becomes that I'll see you in Suwanee. You know, like I'll see you when I get there, you know, type of feeling. And again, you're surrounded by family and good people. And that's, I mean, that's so important, especially in an environment like this where people are taking lots of substances, you know, and again, you may not have the best judgment in real time, but you have people looking out for you every in a place like that. So
I mean, some of them, honestly, some of like me and Landon became really close there, and like me and countless other friends of like, that's like a bedrock our like friendships is Suwanee specifically, not just like these events, like Tipper and Friends at Suwanee. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that probably have similar, if not more, stories.
Exactly.
Moving in, let's play the comment. Let's run the tape.
You know how much dumb shit we've spent $50 on? Seriously.
$50.
$50. And we're not going to play all these. They're in the recording if you want to, but as the night goes on, we start to realize we're like, well, wait a second. No, we didn't pay $50 for tonight because tonight's only one of 2 nights. So actually we paid $25 for this. And at some point someone said, they're like, I got breakfast for $25. I got breakfast and a coffee for $25 this morning. So the value here is just astounding.
Bang for your buck literally is beyond
it's
anything
unreal
out there.
It really is. So I wanted to make sure that we shouted that out once again. Cool. I think we have another timestamp. You call this song the slow down level changer, and you want to call it something specifically in the song where like you can hear where he's going. A lot of times in Tipper, obviously you have like teases and DJ things of that nature. Things that I don't understand the technicality behind. But talk a little bit about
I think that like first off, Tipper songs, a lot, or these sets, I should say, a lot of them, they're unreleased IDs, right? So you have people trying to make up names for these things, and that's super fun, right? But the technicality of Tipper's performance is not really discussed that much, you know. And when you listen, and I guess, you know, to be fair, in real time, you're melting, you know, so it's hard to digest exactly a twinkle of a song that's coming in 5 minutes, you know, but he does it and it's there. So when you guys listen back to these recordings, you will hear him, the preludes to these songs that are way back embedded into the previous track. But yeah, this is a really good example of, these up tempo sets where he has such, conscious crowd control to say, this is going to be an up tempo set, but that doesn't mean I'm going to slam your face the entire time.
You got to breathe.
We have to, yes, exactly. And this is the part of the set where I call it, the level changer, where he literally takes the crowd from banging to just dropping.
Yeah.
So let's hear what that sounds like.
First off, if you have a friend that you have been kind of a partner with, like I feel like you and I have been partners for some of these things, and you have the opportunity to go back and listen to a set and sit and just talk about it, whether you record yourself for a podcast or not, fucking do it because it is fun. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking on the way over here, you and I, or I should say, you are the person that I've seen the most tipper sets with pretty confident.
Yeah, and if
pretty
we're at the,
confident.
we're gonna be together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, just a handful of different spaces,
Yeah,
but like,
we got to see him again before it's over. Orion
Yeah.
can be. I don't know.
yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah, I
He'll
know.
be back.
All right.
But so
Um,
listeners, hold on. This
yeah.
this little 6-minute segment that you just listened to, like I said, I don't know the names of them, but
We're not great at
that
that.
type of tempo for me, I will refer to it as like the grinder section
Yeah,
of
like that.
tipper sets. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, because it's not really bouncy, it's just more just throttling in slow motion.
It's where you find out what you're made of.
I mean, like, but again, it's so mindful of him to get to that tempo within an up tempo set, because again, you got another night, right? There's
And
one more night.
We've talked about this too, as far as like his like, no pun intended here, his time stretch capability.
Right.
And the way that and the way that he's able to, like, not actually manipulate time, but like kind of manipulate time.
Right.
And like how it feels like, I mean, your body after an hour of these sets is just, it
You're
feels
drained.
like you've been doing a CrossFit,
Yeah.
Whatever, like you're drained.
Well,
And mentally too, a lot of times, like it's
Right.
it's a lot. So some of those, like the breath before the grinder moments and the grinder itself can be nice for your body to take a break, maybe.
it's like necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the thing, and you have to trust. That's like when an artist like Tipper does that, it just, in my mind, gives me more trust in him to know that when these up tempo tracks are hitting, you can go all out, because there's gonna be that recovery time, even though you're still dancing.
You got to have a game plan, though. Basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
So, like, you got to know this isn't just like you gotta go in, not expect. You have to have your full attention, physically and mentally, to be prepared, and that'll be something that I think that I miss the most out of seeing Tipper.
Right. Let's not talk about what we're gonna miss.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. There's certain things, like, anyway.
Well, one thing too, when you listen back to these recordings and say you listen to different versions of even those songs we just heard, every live set has so much different texture that Tipper throws in there, because his music, in a live setting, he's going to give you a minute and a half or 2 minutes of this, right? And throughout that, it's going to progress and build on itself with different layers or different textures or different twinkles or different, just whatever samples he's doing. It's perfectly laced in there to the point where it always is going to feel fresh, even if you heard this song in every set you've been at, right?
Yeah, and you said twinklers, that like, but
yeah,
that sounds like the transit of Nightfall of Diamonds. Like, that's what that actually sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
well, speaking of smashers,
up next we got Ryler.
Yeah,
right?
so if
About
you know the
48
name,
minutes into the set,
if you know the name,
you know
it's
the
coming.
vibes. Yep.
Yeah, so strap in, because this is what you want to get in an up tempo set, and you know it the moment it comes in too. So here we go.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram, Old Man Trap?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I know we just had this conversation about like influencers stuff, but there's a fellow on Instagram named Old Man Trap, And he is someone that you would not typically think as like a bass music listener. He's probably like 50, black guy, and he has gotten into like our corner of the world, and he will just like be like, this is this song, like record himself dancing in the car. And like I've realized now that like he is how I feel the same way. Like he'll just do like this shit and he'll just be like, oh yeah. So
yeah,
well, you can keep that in or you can cut that. But yeah, it's the same reaction.
But that's the thing too. I mean, we've seen security guards
countless security guards
in real time.
Yeah,
just like holy shit, and they're in.
My dad the other day, we were sitting right here at this table. Well, he was in his chair, I was in his table, and he was like going through my YouTube algorithm, and he was clicking through, and he was like, clicked on, it was like from Fillmore last year, like Tipper Fillmore last year, and he was like, what is this? And I clicked on, and I was like, no. And I was like, you know what? Like, let it ride. And so he's listening to, he's like, so like, what's happening? And I kind of walked him through the basics quickly. And he was like, this could be cool. And he was like, I bet it's cool for people who drop acid. And I was like, it can be.
Yeah. You're on to something.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, there you go. You're kind of picking it up.
But even anyway. Sober, I mean,
yeah, sure. That's not, it's not necessary.
I guess on that note too, at this event, Dance Safe was involved big time. That's Mitchell Gomez was the one kind of spearheading it. But like, there's so much advocacy for sensible drug use and like awareness of each other. And there were tents to go to for folks that were just a little overwhelmed by the environment, because
not necessarily needing medical attention.
No, just needing to be in peace, or needing to talk to someone. I mean, that was one of my first exposures to seeing that in person too. Was that there's so much assistance for you, right? Whether you feel like you need it or not, there's people there to talk to. And again, that's so special, but it's not it's not as known to do that at places, right?
And people learn a lot about themselves through psychedelic experiences. That's kind of the whole, really grounding part of them.
Right.
And like, it's good for events to be a place to explore that side of yourself.
Right.
And then also have that safe area where like, if you need to chat it out or chill out and drink a little, juice box or whatever it is you might need in the moment.
Yeah.
You have that spot. So shout out Dance Safe always.
Yeah.
And Harmonia.
Yeah, exactly.
And all those
the power of change of scenery when you're on a psychedelic trip is
monumental. Yeah, absolutely.
And even if it's just for a moment.
Yeah.
Because then you're right back where you need to be.
Yeah. Like you just got to go to the bar and get another double whiskey Sprite. Like if that's what you need in that moment, you do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, so on the topic of Spanion and being like Jello.
And being like, there's whiskey and Sprite and Jello, right? Let's play Jello. Why not? Run it.
Fuck yeah. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Make the shape vibrate just like jello.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Jello.
Make you shake, vibrate, just like Jello. That one I do know the name of.
Well,
that one I can remember.
It's also a
actually.
single.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It gets to a
I
point
like to
where
sing.
everyone in the crowd knows what we're doing
Yeah.
and knows that Dave is going to make you shake and
Vibrate. Just
just
similar to that
Make you
of
shake.
Jello when you would shake and or vibrate.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that song is epic as fuck, and again, always a treat to hear it. And it's usually the one that everyone is like, we want to hear this because we actually can
Because I
know what we're
name of
talking
it,
about.
and like I like to sing because that's a fun
Song
thing
that
to
goes,
do. Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck yeah. Well, I've got one more treat from this set, and it's kind of towards the end, but this song, it's an unreleased ID. And distinctly I remember it from the Eclipse event, the night set from the Eclipse event, the uptempo set there. But this song to me, beginning part, only way I can describe it is it sounds like you're just bouncing on a pogo stick, and then when you hear the sound towards the end, it's a fire alarm. And this song in particular is the one that leaves the most musical residue for me when I'm leaving the city.
Musical residue.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
So like the idea, and Tipper's the one who basically makes it happen in a sense. Like this song, you know, it's around where are we at? It's around the 57-minute mark of the set. It's only an hour set, so like second to last song, if not the last song. And when I leave the set, those are the sounds that I'm hearing in my head when there's no music playing. That's musical residue.
Okay,
sense,
I like that.
You know? And like that's what, you know, when I go to a local show and I leave, I'm probably driving home in silence because I'm still hearing what I just heard replaying in my head. That's to me is like so fucking cool that something can be that powerful and impactful that it leaves this musical residue.
You do that, like actually?
Yeah. I mean, like if it's good,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like if it's good,
up
then
to
I'll play
snuff.
something else, you know. But if it's something that I really love and I don't want to dilute it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like after a Tipper set, when folks are going to play, you know, sets in the campsites, I'm not likely going to go to that because of the musical residue that I don't want to.
So there's certain artists that I don't do after parties for the most part. Tipper is number one.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is go listen to more music. Like I want to sit around and talk and, you know, reconnect or just talk about music or just yell at each other. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so musical residue, I love it. Here's a Pogo Stick Fire Alarm by Tipper. I mean, yeah, I think that your summary of that, it does make sense. Especially the
All we can do is
like that does kind of sound like a fire alarm in a positive way. Yeah. And he was kind of telling us to get the fuck out. It was the end of the
So that's kind of the end.
So after Tipper pulled the fire alarm that night, I want to take us into the campgrounds where things could get a little debaucherous. I want to talk about a couple of the fun things that happened with our crew throughout the campgrounds. One is, and these people, their names they will not be named. They shan't be named. But we had a group of friends do an entire semicircle around one individual friend, while another individual friend took a hit of LSD 25 and put it inside of that other person's rectum. Yes. And it was the funniest thing I've ever taken part of at that point in my life. And the cheers and the celebration for seeing one friend put a finger up another friend's ass with narcotics on the other end it's special. It's a special thing.
Let's just say it's once in a lifetime.
It's once in a lifetime.
We're not condoning
I'm not condoning it. I don't think anyone should ever
Yeah.
emulate that ever again. But and the person, everyone involved is totally fine.
Yes.
The other really fun thing is we're all kind of sitting there. I think we were just like smoking a joint or whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden, a snake falls out of the tree and falls into someone's lap, and the person like is holding the snake basically, and he just looks up at all of us with the most serious look on his face, and he goes, "That just shows you we're not the only things out here." And he thought it was so deep, and like at the time, it kind of was. It was, yeah. And like the snakes were falling from the sky. It was like a plague, but like in a good way.
Maybe that's a foreshadowing for the future.
The snakes.
Yeah.
I like to think that it is. Yeah, the snakes on the stage. I'm trying this motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking stage.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But yeah, no, it was, and I'm sure for every one of my stories, there's 15 million other ones.
Exactly.
People.
But share those stories.
But share those
stories. Those stories are captured in moments of time.
Absolutely.
Again, be careful sticking acid up your ass.
Yeah, maybe don't stick acid up your ass. We were younger, so like we had the neuroplasticity of our brains was like, oh yeah, you can bounce back from that real quick.
Yeah, but you're in for a good.
So to those who did that, we love you.
Yeah, we do, definitely.
Cool. So going into Saturday, there were some different like fun activities that you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. So prior to any music being played, Tipper events are really good at starting music, late afternoon, twilight-ish kind of time. So everyone doesn't have to they can sleep or they can choose to do other activities that might be available. And they had plenty. So I'm going to list off a few. Just on Saturday, they had yoga at the amphitheater stage, belly dancing, a meditation hike, drum circle, which we may talk about later, and a gong session. But in reality, what I was able to go to was it was about 3 hours of 2 hours of a talk and then an hour of a session with these individuals who were there. They called it the knowledge dropper setting, and we're going to make sure that the audio from that is in that collection as well. But I want to list off the folks who are involved. Mitchell Gomez was spearheading it. Teresa Pugliese was also speaking. Lex Pelger, who I'll talk a little bit more on in a second, was speaking. And Mama Margie, who is Rachel Morningstar Hoffman's mom, otherwise known as the Purple Hatter. She got to speak and tell her story and Rachel's story and what they're trying to do or what they were trying to do. And she's very accessible now, a big figure in Suwanee. And surely many of you have met her before or even worn the purple hat. It was super cool, man.
I was there too.
Yeah. Super, super cool. Emotional for sure, but necessary listening, so they got to speak on what they were involved in at the time. And again, super powerful. And then after that knowledge droppers talk, Lex Pelger, who also was working with Symposia at the time, held a drug storytime session. And this is 2 hours, I think, 2 hours of folks just who were there at the festival, me included, getting up to go and talk about an experience that we have with psychedelics. Could be a good experience, could be a challenging experience, could be something you're still trying to process. But having that open forum out in the middle of the field at Suwanee was just super, super special. And again, you get a lot of Spunions on mic trying to make sense of themselves, whether they stuck acid up their ass or they were just there for a good time.
Yeah. Or they watched someone take acid up their ass.
Like,
But yeah, I
super
remember
cool.
that being a thing. We'll debate maybe the if we upload that or not, just because.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
we should.
There's some people recorded on that and talking about drug stories might not be the best.
Yeah, everyone, no
perspective.
one was saying their name or anything.
Okay,
like that
yeah,
either.
yeah.
Yeah. It's worth doing. We will filter it and see.
Yeah.
But,
But that's, yeah, I mean, and you know, that's something as the community has grown, I think isn't necessarily wouldn't be something that would happen now.
No, I think it actually could, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of talking about drug stories, you know, is personal experience, right? Again, you know, we just talked about one, you know, in a sense, and like we've come a long way. But I think you can get so much. Yeah, some of that, right? But the idea of recognizing how those experiences, what they're there to show you, I think is really special. And talking about your experience, especially the hard ones. The hard trips are the ones that I think are so worth talking
because
about.
people can hear about it and learn from it and like understand maybe in a future sense.
Yeah, or even relate to the headspace.
Right.
You know? Again,
exactly.
this is a different time period, but it is really special to have that open forum kind of set up too. But so you want to talk about the music on Saturday?
Yeah, I was moving the music on Saturday because that was still a thing. So we still had a whole other day left.
Right.
The first thing that I want to talk about, I think who played before Jade Cicada?
So the lineup on Saturday, we had Cut Chemist, the hammock.
That's
set,
right.
420
Yeah.
hammock set,
The
right?
hip hop.
Super cool. And again, middle of the day, or very bright during that time.
Yeah.
Right. So we had Cut Chemist in a break, Medicine, and then Ott. Ott played the Twilight set, so you know, sun going down, visuals coming up. Love seeing Ott. Ott probably was the only artist that weekend who spoke on the microphone.
What did he say? Do you remember?
He said at the beginning of
bring
the
your
set.
toothbrushes?
Yeah, no, he says at the beginning of the set, he goes, "I'm just going to talk for the whole time. I'm not going to play any." Ott is a fucking joker, and I love him. He recently, I think, had an injury. I don't know any details of it, but check out Ott's social media and see what he's saying and if he needs support, because I think he might have had to cancel some shows.
Okay,
not totally sure, but we love Ott. Ott is been a great artist that's featured in many Tipper events. But anytime you get a chance to see him, do go see him, and we'll have that audio uploaded for you as well. So Ott played, and then an artist named Teebs. I don't remember that set in particular, but I do remember who played next, which was Jade Cicada.
Yeah.
So the first time, his debut for me,
debut, I think, in general.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Had played a few small shows. I don't really know, I don't know as much about the Tipper to Jade Cicada connection pipeline as probably other people do. But what I do know is this man played the cha-cha slide that was heard around the world. Out of all the shows that I've been to, I've never heard anyone talk about a moment, a song, whatever, like collectively, universally agreed upon the way that Jade Cicada Cha-Cha Slide is spoken about.
Yeah.
Every single person who's at that event talks about it. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's so silly. Honestly, it's fucking dumb, and it is awesome, like in the best ways.
Well, it's like, it's cliche to say, but like to be there and experience it in real time.
Because you're just laughing.
Right. And like,
and you're doing, and
you're
clapping. And you're clapping, and you're sliding to the left. Like you're fucking crossing it up, you know? It's cha-cha, I think, you know what I mean? And it was just like, it just struck this nerve of like
everyone's
nostalgia. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's youth. Everyone knows exactly what to do when the cha-cha slide comes on, mainly because it tells you what to do.
Yeah, it's pretty
it's pretty specific in your dance steps. But yeah, we're gonna play this video. I found it on YouTube. Shout out to the person who put it on YouTube, whose name is Jay Rizzle 553. So 20 subscribers. I've seen this video most likely with its 4,000 views. But yeah, so we'll play this really quick. And yeah, once again, slide real slow. Cha-cha real slow.
Now it's time to get funky. To the right now. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. One hop this time. Right foot. Left foot. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Crisscross. Everybody clap it up.
Yeah, it's one of those things if you're there, and also just like once again, kind of going back to crowd control and being like, what is something that
It's
I
recognized.
don't think he really plays it very often. I don't follow Jade's Cata super closely,
Right.
but I know that after this event, our friend Jared tried to start like a illuminator, liberator,
Like a fan group kind of thing?
fan group kind of thing for Jade Cicada, like messaged him on Facebook,
Right.
put like 8 of us in the group message and was like, hey, like, can you know, whatever. And he was like, yeah, sure, I guess. Like he like didn't really know how to respond because he's pretty new to the whole
To the
thing.
scene.
Yeah. So
But a
yeah.
launching pad for sure.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
He's
like
he slid all right.
yeah, everyone's
He slid
fine.
head first into everyone's
Everyone's
everything.
brain.
I still get text messages from Jade Cicada about new album releases. So
Yeah,
anyway,
of course.
after that, we had
So
Sixus and
and-
Bog Trotter.
Two more neuro-based producers. Epic. I mean, just like
I remember being walking away super blown away from Sixus.
Yeah, I had
Fair
not
enough, I don't
seen
remember
Sixus
too much of
play.
Bog Trotter.
Right.
But I do remember Sixus being like very, very like very neuro.
Yeah, very psychedelic based
Mhm.
music. Again, you know, everything's taken into account in this, and I love the idea of Jay Cicada into Sixus. Sixus is less, I would say, less abrasive than
Mhm.
like a bog trotter would be.
Right.
So it's like Jay
Riding that
Cicada
wave kind of still. Yeah.
abrasive bog trotter, then and I say that in a nice way. I love bog trotter, but then into this journey set,
Mhm.
right? Journey sets. I'm trying to remember if there were like
Build
labeled.
sets.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Before this, do you remember any?
I want to say no, but I don't really know.
Right. Again,
I'm trying to
we
think.
don't know.
I'm trying to think of what Tipper Talia Hall. Tipper Talia Hall
There
was
was a
just
couple nights.
yeah, but I think it wasn't labeled. Like, yeah, I wish I could call Joe. Which I just looked on
Yeah.
Instagram, so he's doing something or else. But
Phone him in.
yeah, we'd phone a friend.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone out there knows. But yeah, so I think you're right. I know for a fact it was you and I's first Tipper Journey set,
Right.
and we didn't really fully understand what that meant. Like we kind of assumed, you know. And these journey sets over the years just hold super, super special places
right
in my heart. And they don't, you know, the most recent ambient set at Orion felt kind of like a journey set, although it was not billed as such. By the end of it, you know, about halfway through, I felt like it was kind of moved into down tempo, and like I got out of that set what I typically would get out of a journey set. But outside of that, man, I mean, probably only 3 or 4 other times I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
I know one at Astral, and I don't know about you, but yeah, this was unreal. This was like if the first night, and it's funny if you listen back to the Look recordings, the first night, up tempo night, about once every 10 minutes, 12 minutes or so, one of us says something to the other one. And we're like talking about like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is check out the lights, like who's on visuals, whatever.
Right.
We don't say shit during the first like 30 minutes of this. We are dead ass silent.
Dialed in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because literally honestly, when Tipper's on the stage in this type of context, you're paying total attention to that, you know, and it pays off infinite
Dividends
to do that, you know.
Great investment, great return on your investment there.
Beyond,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And now this what you're going to hear next is the first, basically maybe the first 8 to 10 minutes of the set, because you have a re-up opener, which is fucking crazy because it builds so much and you know what is gonna come. So you have this re-up opener, and then what you also have is the debut of Sleeper. You know, Sleeper is something that, you know, I've been pretty adamant about how much I love that track and how deep that track is to me and to Dave himself, right? Do you remember who he dedicated that track
It was
to?
either his stepfather or his real father.
I want to say
I could find out on
stepfather
SoundCloud
potentially.
But
Anyway, this is the first time we all got to
not
hear
the stepfather,
this.
it's our real father. Anyway, yeah.
Right. We got to hear this in real time. And Jonathan Singer on visuals. In fact, you know, throughout this set, I think that they are rotating visuals between Android and Jonathan and W. So
Uh-huh.
like the idea of collaborating with visual artists for one performer, if for one set, really, I don't think had been touched before.
Well, it hadn't
And
been touched
they're
on such a scale for
such
sure.
a scale, but also, yeah, and the scale of the environment too, because they're
Right.
lighting up the trees in sync with the music.
I
too.
forgot all about those laser cells rewatching some of these videos this week.
Right?
Yeah. I
So-
forgot all about those little fan.
I mean,
like,
do you
yeah.
remember watching them in the sound booth
Yes,
too,
I
right
do
there
remember
to
that.
us? I mean, that it's so
Fascinated
you're,
us.
you're literally able to study these artists too in real time. I mean, whether you're just mesmerized by or you're infatuated by learning the technology, it's right there.
And I
It's
mean, it's
super
so many
accessible.
of the visual artists that have since been featured on Super Friends lineups all were like they started seeing these things at Suwanee,
right.
and they're like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's super true.
yeah, like you know,
Mhm.
I know a couple of them not personally, but no, I know them personally, and like they're like yes, like I saw that, and I was like, I want to do that way.
It's
You know, and the same
inspiration.
thing for musicians too, and that's why this has been such a monumental thing for this like community and this culture. This was like where a lot of people got inspiration and then got validation
Right.
in return, you know,
Yeah.
where they were like, this inspired me. I mean, even like Omnis like specifically said that I think publicly in Facebook post, been like, hey, like
Yeah.
I saw this, I thought it was dope, and now I'm playing it. And that's just beautiful, man.
That's the community, like,
music's a beautiful thing. It's a
dude.
beautiful thing.
I mean, it's art,
Yeah.
you know, and it's art on so many levels. But again, it's something that is just it touches that spot that only this collective can do,
Right.
you know, and it truly is a collective. So enjoy this first 8 minutes,
Yeah.
let's say,
The
of
re-up.
the
The
re-up
quintessential
into
Sever
sleeper,
song.
re-up into sleeper.
Yeah, like I was saying kind of right before, I don't know if we were going to cut that out or not, but like the re-up is just that's the quintessential, like, hey, if I had to show someone Tipper, I'd be like, this is like, it's beautiful and calm, and then it kind of pushes you into that more like neurotechnical bass and that drop, if you want to call it that.
Right.
But gently,
Yeah.
it's not like
Just how it needs to be
yeah,
done.
it
Right.
warms you up a little bit. And it's
Yeah.
obviously, opened the set with us. He kind of feels the same way. Has opened several sets with it, I feel like, that I've
Yeah.
seen.
And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, honestly, that's when you know you're in. But even at this time, too, Forward Escape, which is what that track is from, that album, was the latest album to have come out.
Mhm.
In other words, we didn't have
Yeah, you're
we didn't
right.
have the fuck, what was it called? What's
Oh,
the new one?
Jettison
Jettison
Nine
Nine
Hatch.
Hatch.
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah.
have that one yet. Now that's in a couple years at Suwannee too.
Yeah,
we get some
and we
debuts
can
with
go
that.
back through that
We
at
will
some
get
point
there. We
too,
will
because
get
that was the
there.
most unique way that I've ever listened to an album, was me listening back, remembering all of these moments. I wrote a really
Yeah.
long fucking like thing. I think I sent it to you at some point, but just about like how
When you heard the
when I
songs.
heard when I heard the album, like when I listened to the album for the first time, I was like, I remember this is that song. Oh, this is the crawling through Mars in New Orleans song,
But that was Sleeper, in
Yeah.
a sense, like this was all of our first time hearing that song and it being showcased in a
Mhm.
way that it can't be replicated.
Right. Yeah.
So that's super special.
Coming from that, just a few minutes later, after Sleeper, we go into a crowd favorite, Mary Boppins.
Yes.
It sounds like a song that's been named by the community, probably.
100%.
But yeah, let's play that too. beautiful track.
So
Just
pretty.
gorgeous.
I mean, it has all the elements that you would want. It has punches, it has twinkles, it has bass waves. I mean, it's a sound bath.
Yeah.
Tipper sets are sound baths, whether you're moving or it's an ambient set where you're sitting on the ground
Mhm.
melting. It is gonna be sounds washing over you and touching every sense that you have.
Just a lovely vibration, brother. You know. So moving on from there, as you know, all good things must come to an end, right? And the down tempo portion of this set, as we're moving through, kind of the more ambient down tempo part of the journey, slowly starts to end. And I think when he plays David and Confused around the 23-minute mark, that's our last little like breathy.
It's our little down tempo gift.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like, all right, like, and now we're gonna kind of pick it up a little bit. And so I think he kind of uses a lot of times I call them like linchpins in some of these like journey sets where it's like, okay, and now we're like fully transitioned into something like the next phase.
Right.
And even if you do kind of go back a little bit and then kind of continue pushing that way, like it's kind of the signifier, like, all right, and that chapter's over. We're turning the page. And I think Dave and Confused is the one on this set. So about 23 minutes and 10 seconds in. It's Dave and Confused by Dave.
There we go.
And Confused Tipperhead.
A treat.
A serious treat.
I mean, when he starts going back to the older albums and pulling out gems like this, everyone's like, okay, we recognize
What is
this
this
too,
on?
right?
Seamless Unspeakable something?
Yeah.
My favorite well, Relish the Trough and Seamless Unspeakable something are like some of my favorite album titles ever.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, album titles.
I mean, you have a favorite Tipper album?
I mean, I think it is Jettison Mine Hatch just because of the uniqueness of like how I heard it.
Right.
Do you?
I would say, I mean, in the same vein, we got to experience that as a release kind of in real time. So that does make it super special. But I always like Surrounded too.
Yeah. I mean, I think Forward Escape's the best album. But that doesn't mean it's my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, but the truth is, whatever type of music you like, there's an album for that.
There's an album.
I mean, tip hop, you got the EPs.
Yeah.
You know, the EPs, there's a lot of EPs that were laced into the uptempo set too. And in this one too. I mean, the closer is from one of the EPs too. But what do we got next? So next we have the level change.
The level change where, like we were saying just a second ago, It's a full speed sprint to the end here for about 45 minutes. So, also another crowd pleasing track and another one that people know the name of.
Sing along.
But another sing along. I don't hate that. We have It's Like at 45 minutes and 30 seconds in. So let's play a minute or two of that.
It's like 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 it's like
Dude, here's the thing about It's Like. It is
Like
this is the humor in Dave Tipper too, because everyone's had that conversation
where you're like,
trying to
that
figure
song,
out-
It's
yeah,
Like.
it's like wow,
Yeah,
exactly. Let's make a fucking song about it.
Yeah, that's
And we'll have 7 or 8 different times where we'll say It's Like and drop something
entirely
totally
different. Yeah. Because fuck them, that's why.
So fucking
Yeah.
so fucking good. So fucking good.
And then I think we got one more track from this to close out our journey.
Yeah, it's a
and-
wild one, and I mean to try to describe it,
So
it's like-
it kind of has, it's like Tiny Face with the vocal chop, right?
but it's not.
But it's not Tiny Face.
But it has.
But
that
it has
edit.
that similar, yeah. So here's not Tiny Face,
Right.
and
And this is around hour 14 minutes.
if you're listening to this and you want to correct us on song titles, because these are actual song
Please
titles,
do.
by all means, yeah, we will not take offense. Like, not to talk about a negative. This is my biggest gripe with Tipper, like live documentation, is not having set lists, because it just creates, because for a long time that was discouraged to post set lists, because it makes it hard to remember names, and that's kind of how I was able to learn a lot of different music. So if you got that set, you got this set list, by all means throw this in a comment. We'd love to have it.
Absolutely.
All right,
Here we
not
go.
Tiny Face.
Yeah, not Tiny Face. It's like, all right. I think I got it. Here's what it's like. Tiny Face, if Tiny Face was drum step,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Because it's very punchy and it's very downbeat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, and I think I remember kind of leaving that set and going back to camp and being like, all right, what do now?
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Well,
And
didn't they have a drum circle planned after?
yeah,
this?
I didn't go to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure if for those that did, I'm sure it was great. I don't know why you would, but like, hey, more power to you if that's something you could enjoy in that moment. For me, I needed to go have a cold beer and sit in a lawn chair
And melt.
and melt.
Well, and also because within, I guess, 5 hours, there was going to be a sunrise set with Spangle.
Well, yeah, and so it was kind of like who can make it? Like, can you make it this? I did not that year. Made it to many different sunrise events and non-events after that. Sitting out on the little bridge out on Spirit Lake. Definitely did that a couple times, but I did not make it to that Spangle sunrise. I think I probably fell asleep and went down for the count, but you did.
Yeah, no, I did. And I'm trying to remember if I tried to wake you up, and I think I did.
You did. So what happened specifically actually is so I was like, I'm gonna lay in this hammock for like an hour. I was like, I'm gonna lay down. I was like, wake me up when you go to leave.
Right.
Or whoever wakes up first. And so I lay down and I fall asleep and I got woken up and I was freezing cold. Like I was really, and so I ran and got in the tent with somebody else and I was like, hey, like I'm freezing. Like we gotta cuddle up here. I was like, we gotta cuddle up, we gotta put some blankets on because it's cold outside.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I'm not going to that fucking sunrise set. No way.
I just wanted to put on the record because I did remember trying to wake you up to go.
You tried.
But if there's anything, I'll try once. But also, I'm not going to miss it. So
right, sure, that's fair.
Right, but here's the thing: what
it's
they
like offering
did,
to pay for a bill at a table. It's like I'll offer once, but if you refuse twice, then okay, that's
you take it,
you,
right? But like, so here's what they did with the sunrise set because it's interesting, and I didn't recognize it in real time because again, you're processing what is actually happening in a sense. But Simon Posford played for 2 hours for the sunrise set, and the first hour, especially if you listen to the recording, you will hear like over the top bass. Okay. It doesn't translate well in the recording because it's so bassy. But my theory behind this is that is the hour attempt to try to get people to be there or recognize
trying to wake people up.
Yes.
Like an actual alarm.
Yes. Right. Simon's alarm.
Hello.
But
play some really loud bass music now.
Because at pretty much right at the hour mark, it's the fidelity switches and he starts playing Spangle songs.
What was he playing before?
More, I mean, just different artist music.
Gotcha.
You know, more like a DJ sense, but it didn't seem structured like a Spangle set.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No.
I remember hearing post fest that they had to move the speakers from the main stage to the field after Tipper ended. Like they didn't have two separate sets of speakers, right?
No, they did.
Or they added new ones, but apparently it was like a logistical nightmare. That's why I've never done it since then.
Okay.
They've never done
moved it.
Yeah, moved it. They've never done mainstay or like the big field where the Halloween main stage is. They haven't done Sunrise out there since then.
Right. But I do know, and really because I know my buddy Philip, who's involved with Sound System Cultures, that was their setup out there in the field. But yeah, I can only imagine trying to do that for the first time, especially
at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And everyone's been having fun.
But the like I said, the Spangle section of the audio is really clean, and I think that was intentional to say, you know, let's turn the bass up, let's let people know this it's on now. Come on out. It was so wild because being there early, there's not a lot of people there, and just slowly you realize this crowd is growing, you know. And Simon's great. He's a showman. Like he's a great persona on stage, and he's very interactive with the crowd. And he was not on a stage; he's on the ground, surrounded by people on all sides. Even to a point, I think he asked somebody for a cigarette, got a cigarette from a random person in the crowd.
Good for you, whoever that is.
Yeah, right. And again, this is the Sunday at the morning after Journey set and just Tipper and friends. So you have all the characters,
right?
People waving rubber chickens in the air.
People probably cooking bacon on site.
Yeah, I mean, people in golf carts, people on the ground, people sleeping who slept there after Tipper set. That's
the smart move.
I agree.
Retrospectively,
I agree. If
Yeah.
you know where it's gonna be,
That's what we
yeah.
did for the Tipper sunrise set. The next year, we were like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just go to the stage and like,
Right.
we're probably not gonna fall asleep. Let's lay down. You
Well,
know?
and they had the movie night then.
Yeah,
For that event
true,
too.
very true.
We got
very
lots
true.
to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
for that. That'll be fun.
yeah.
But this Spangle set, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you we'll show you a clip.
An amazing clip.
Yeah, it really is phenomenal.
That we just found today. I think I'd never seen it before.
I hadn't either.
Yeah, so this is a clip that some fucking hero got.
Who is it? Super Blue Diesel?
Super Blue Diesel, which that sounds kind of nice. With 2,500 views. This absolute legend took a video from the Ferris wheel that lo and behold was running during the sunrise set.
There's somebody operating this.
Yeah, there's somebody operating this, and there's nobody on the Ferris wheel, and you just see everything from up top. It's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, feel free to look at this video. We'll also attach that in the comments, of course. And here it is. Yeah, just a legend.
Super. Oh, well, Simon's a
Simon's a
legend.
legend. This
The
guy's a
crew is a
legend.
legend.
Yeah.
Tipper's a legend.
Yeah.
Everyone who was there is a legend. Like this event was fucking legendary.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Everything
there's
about it.
it set so many things in motion that we didn't even realize. Like every year they're gonna level up. Every event they're gonna
do something
up.
a little bit different.
Little bit
We're gonna add a
different.
little more. Always
We're gonna
improving your position.
Bring somebody
Yeah.
new, bring somebody familiar, you know,
bring
showcase-
somebody off the wall, someone you've never heard of that you're gonna walk away from. You know, I mean, all kinds of artists that are just mainstays in the scene now, like Detox Unit and
Mind Decks.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these guys get their, and it's hard.
The list goes
it's
on.
hard to say they get their start because they're,
But they get their
established
break.
musicians,
They get their
but,
break.
like,
They get
their
their break. There.
awareness-
It's a big break for people to get booked for these events. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
it's gonna be a great, it's gonna be a great final
last
dance. Yeah, super excited for everybody that's gonna get to be there.
Right.
And I'm sure it'll be a little emotional probably at times for some folks, and some folks will just have a great time regardless.
Yeah, it
So-
should be emotional.
Yeah,
you
it
know, I
should
mean,
be.
like these Tipper events, whether it be a memorial, right, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be, a last hurrah kind of approach. I mean, or even the first one. There's emotions all over the place in these events, and I think that is just another facet of these things. Is that you can go there and rage and leave and say you had a great time, but also you're going to go there and you're going to see people you hadn't seen in 4 years,
Mhm.
right? Or people you just met, right? Or friends people that you meet through other people. It's just endless connections. And I think that, these memories are going to be with us forever, and we're going to continue making memories and continue having these experiences. But like, it's nothing like a first.
There's nothing like a first. That's
First
a
and
great way to
foremost,
put it.
right?
Yeah. And I think the ability to express those emotions and like feel those things, I think, is a lot of ways like the moth to the flame for all of us that do attend these events. Is like we
Right.
have something that we kind of want to work out, or like whether it's conscious or subconscious, or where you just want to go and have a good time, and then you end up kind of finding some of those things out about yourself.
Yeah.
I think those are kind of the lasting friendships and memories that I will always like hold super dear. And we'll continue to see each other, but I think these last 9 years of like building a lot of these connections and like lifelong friendships, like I think we'll look back on this when we're 50, 60, 70 years old and be like, this was an incredibly critical point in our lives in our 20s, for
Mhm.
most of us, in early 30s. And we'll look back and be like, that was such a critical point for me to be able to create a community that I was able to carry on with throughout my life.
Right.
And I that's the biggest gift I think that music in general has given us, but like Tipper specifically, and Tipper and Friends,
Right.
Suwannee specifically. in a lot
That's
of
what I was
ways.
going to say.
You know,
it's that,
like
even though Tipper, this is his last run in Suwannee, the park is there. The grounds
They're
are
going nowhere.
Exactly. And
The stage is set for people to continue to like go back and
Exactly.
have these things, but
it could
there's also just when people grow up, people have start having families and people move away. People, this is very specific to the Southeast. People
Right.
out west now, like it was a powerful moment in time,
Mhm.
as another artist of ours says
But
sometimes.
couldn't you envision yourself bringing, whether it is a child or another relative or a friend that you meet at some point or a partner to Suwannee to then say, guess what happened here? Right?
Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe
one
one day,
day we'll get there.
maybe we'll hold an impromptu
Who
reunion
knows?
there.
Yeah,
right. That would be
exactly.
sick. That'd be
Exactly.
sick. So I guess the way we're going to end this, unless you got anything else you want to.
No, I mean, if you're still with us, now,
Thank you.
hopefully, thank you first off. Hopefully, maybe you listen to this on your drive down and this is helping you get excited for the weekend to come. That's my vision for
Right.
how the whole reason we did this is, man, like we just want to take a trip down memory lane and talk about this and get it documented for our own experiences. But also just, man, like something like this, it deserves a little extra something. So hopefully you're listening to this in your car ride, maybe your plane ride or whatever.
Right.
You met a new friend.
If you have memories from this event, share them.
Yeah.
Share them here or share them with whoever you meet at the event itself.
Yeah.
I mean, these are something that I think it goes beyond words at times. So I think the way we close this is with this new track that Tipper released earlier this year in honor of Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Bullet Holes and Such, beautiful ambient track. And maybe we'll throw some pictures in there or something just to kind of land this plane. But to everyone out there in Suwanee, y'all be safe, take care of each other, fucking lose yourself in this shit. I think it is really something special, and it really is. It is therapeutic, it is medicinal, it is spiritual, it is emotional, it is physical. All these things that are going to happen, address them and soak them in while you can, because there's only a couple sets left.
There's only there's nothing like your first, and I'm sure there's nothing like your last either. So beautifully said, man. I love you.
Yeah,
Fantastic
I love
job.
you too.
Yeah, great. All right,
Sure.
Here is
Bullet Holes
and Such by Dave Tipper.